What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS podcast and live stream recording here for Friday's 13-game main slate. James, yesterday was Thanksgiving. I hope you had a good one. I had a pretty good one. A lot of food. Makes you wonder how much food these players ate. Did Zion Williamson go and have like 9 turkeys yesterday?
Whoa!
Right? Like, you know, what was his food intake? How much macaroni and cheese? How much side dishes? How many rolls? You know, players like Zion, who we know technically in the past have had maybe some eating problems here. You know, is he going to be ready to go? Is he going to be sluggish? You know, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I can't be part of this. Don't attach my name to this. Don't attach my name to this.
Throwing around your favorite player out there.
Oh my god!
Throwing around your favorite player. You know?
Holy smokes! We know LeBron didn't eat Thanksgiving.
It's true.
You know, for football, we know Tom Brady didn't ingest anything for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I guess it depends. Like, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that did enjoy some wine, did enjoy some Thanksgiving, and hopefully it's not the players that we use. Do we know who those guys are? No, but we'll find out mighty quick when they start the night overnight.
Yeah, we'll see when their conditioning is. You know, how quickly does Rick Carlisle pull somebody off the floor tonight because they're slugging around out there. You know,
was that any different than normal?
Not usually. Not usually. So, 13 games. We do have quite a few players already ruled out going into this one. You know, at the top, we know Joel Embiid is still out. Damian Lillard is still out. James Harden remains out. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are out for the Clippers again. Jimmy Butler is out. Desmond Bane remains out. CJ McCollum continues to be out as he's in the league's protocol. Tyrese Maxey continues to be out. Cade Cunningham, Chris Paul still out as well. Chris Middleton close to returning, not yet though. Bones Highland is still out. Marcus Fultz potentially returning shortly. Practiced on Wednesday, so be on the lookout maybe for a Marquez Fultz return sooner rather than later. His expectation was early to mid-December, but good to see him back on the practice court there. We know Mike Conley's out. Karis LeVert remains to be out there. Isaiah Stewart is out still. Kevin Love is out. So some notable names that we've been paying attention to. There's a lot more names that were questionable, and if everybody remembers what Wednesday was like in the NBA, James, you were on the playbook. Every 5 minutes, a team was ruling out half their starting lineup. It created some pretty hectic roster shifts in terms of how we were building our lineups. Some of it didn't work out as well as we had hoped. Those who were less reactive to the news on Wednesday likely did a lot better than those who were. That isn't always the case, and that's sort of the tug and pull that we have when it comes to the NBA news cycle.
Yeah, it's frustrating sometimes, but we just have to keep chugging along, and I don't necessarily regret the moves that I think we made collectively because a lot of them panned out, a lot of them didn't. I mean, if you pivoted to the Denver trio, you were very happy because they all went for 60-plus fantasy points. If you pivoted to some of the Washington guys, you weren't as happy. So, you know, being reactive at times works. Being reactive at times doesn't. I think we just need to fine-tune who we're being reactive to. Jordan Goodwin not being one of them. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think the process is wrong. I would say I'd take the under on the every 5 minutes. I would say every almost like 30 seconds. It felt like maybe like a war zone where there was just like bombs going off. Every 30 seconds, just like new player out, new player out, new player out. But we're on Friday. Expect much of the same here, and we'll have the injury report again out, John, our new addition to the NBA DFS content. So that'll be out during the middle of the day.
All right, let's jump into it here. James, got any of the top game totals available to us? Again, 13 games, so I'm sure there are quite a few to discuss, but got any over 230 today? Maybe a Memphis Pelicans game probably venturing into that 230 range potentially here today. Boston, Sacramento, I could see maybe closing into that 230 range here. Golden State, Utah, maybe flirting in that one as well.
Flirting would be an understatement. They're actually flirting 240.
Okay.
Golden State, Utah, 239.5 currently. Utah getting 8 points. Just throwing that out there. Utah, good team, getting 8. Brooklyn, Indiana, 232.5. We've seen this twice, I think. Brooklyn giving 3 on the road. Chicago, Oklahoma City, 233. Chicago giving 3 to OKC. 2 days after their coach went berserk on how bad the refs are. Atlanta and Houston, 232. Houston got a problem, 7-point dogs at home. And then you mentioned your Boston Celtics. Actually, we have 2 more. Boston Celtics, 237 against 8-point favorites at home against the Kings. Feels like that's respect to the Kings that I don't think we're used to, because Boston, typically that would be like an 11, 12 point
they just
spread.
blew out Dallas. So.
Yeah, just blew out Dallas. And then LA, San Antonio, 232.5. Lakers giving 4 on the road. Shocked to see
Lakers returning LeBron James today. So.
Yep, LeBron James. What's
our Pelicans Memphis total?
Pelicans Memphis is
227?
226.5.
Okay,
yeah,
that's close. All right, so those are our top totals for the day. Again, a big slate. Got to figure out how to shorten up the player pool here. There is some value. We'll go over that, obviously, as we break it down. Let's go into the point guard position here. John Morant is your top price point guard at 10.7. Steph Curry at 10.6, as you mentioned already. That 236 game total, right? No,
239.5.
239.5 game total against Utah. That one's probably going to be a pretty juicy spot there. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's at $10,200. Trae Young up in the 10K range here now as well. Is Steph your target here? Again, I know we've been playing a lot of SGA, but just the total, just the fact that he's given us 270 plus fantasy point games in the last 4, and he's actually cheaper than he's been the last 2 slates by a couple $100. Got to think a lot of people are looking to spend up here for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think Curry's the top dog of this group, and no one else on this tier has shown 70. SGA's gone 60. Morant, we know, can probably have 70 in his bag. Trae has 60 in his bag in an elite matchup. I think they're all good. Honestly, I don't think there's a bad play. Morant, there's still no Desmond Bane, right? And what injury? Guy comes back after 4 days. They said weeks. It was days.
Yeah.
And he scores 34. He's a freak. But yeah, Steph of the 4 is a top target. But again, they're all in play. I actually might put Trae ahead of SGA probably for the first time all year, just because of the matchup. But I think you can get to any of them and you'd be happy with the result.
Would you play Ja or Trae?
I'd probably play. That's a good question, because we're gonna get a lot of Jose Alvarado defense against Ja, right? And that's
that guy's intense.
That is he's the modern day Matthew Dellavedova.
Yeah.
He's how annoying he is. So I'll go Trae, but again, Morant's fine. Morant in tournaments is going to be low on.
Yeah, right. The price tag alone will keep him low on. So I'm with you there. I think we go Curry, Trae, Morant, SGA for ranking the 4 today. Next tier down, we have De'Aaron Fox against Boston. We have Halliburton at 94, Garland at 93, Kyrie Irving at 92. Melton is up to $8,200. I'll kind of throw him in that tier as well, given his recent production. Halliburton is definitely going to be a guy that I think a lot of people, again, will be gravitating to. His ceiling, if you follow along on DraftKings, his projected points by halftime is generally 60. And then something happens in the Pacers game where it's a blowout one way or the other, or he just goes cold for a quarter and he finishes with 50. So very much capable of putting out just big time numbers here. Same thing with Garland. It doesn't matter that Mitchell's there. I think what's been a little bit more surprising is 0 rebounds in back-to-back games. Not that Garland's a big rebounding guy, but he was giving you almost 2 or 3 there for a little bit, just to add in some of the value. But the assists are legit. The scoring continues to be legit. Halliburton just gives you a little bit more, but we've seen a better ceiling, I think, out of Garland lately when he dropped 41 actual against Charlotte. Tough spot against Milwaukee, but this could be a competitive back-and-forth game. Kyrie coming off of one of his better games of late, 29 actual. Fantasy points haven't really lived up to the price tag, though, so for me, it's still not my favorite spot, but he's gone for 50 average fantasy points against the Pacers this year.
Yeah, I think this tier is interesting because the one guy you you started with but didn't go back to is De'Aaron Fox, and
Yeah.
he might be playing better than all of them, excluding that game against Atlanta, which was a very big disappointment for me because got Fox at like 3% after a night before I got Fox at 3%, right? Like goes for 3%, then he's 3% again. He's going to be 3% owned again.
Yeah.
So like in tournaments, I'm perfectly fine going Fox. Also, the thing about Halliburton's ceiling, like that Orlando game was going to be 60.
Yeah.
Right. And then they blew him out like it's just a random blowout. So like, I don't know, like the ceiling feels high.
I mean, the assists are insane, right? 14,
They're
14,
insane.
14, 3 straight games. It's just if he scores, right?
Yeah.
4 for 15 against Minnesota. Love the 15 shots. Just didn't get there for you. You're right. Orlando, he was on it. He gave you 60 against Orlando the game before that. So definitely has a good ceiling. I'm no arguments on that one. He went for 53 against Brooklyn the first game. Only went for 29 against Brooklyn in the second game. They played on a back-to-back matchups with one another. So, but still, it's a good spot. We like him. 94 is definitely a fair price tag for what he can give you.
Right. If I'm like, and then, I mean, Kyrie in his Skechers.
Yeah. Not playing DeJounte. 91.
No, dude, it's just like, we love DeJounte Murray, but like, you just can't get there right now.
Yep.
There's just no ceiling at this price. I mean, we're gonna get a 60 fantasy point game, right? We all know that it's coming.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does. But like, it's just very hard to trust.
Yep. How are you feeling about like the next group? Like Melton, Lowry, KPJ, Jalen Green's questionable for this game against Atlanta. You know, Hero came back. Obviously, it wasn't his best performance, more shooting guard, but just kind of throwing him in there. Drew Holiday down to 78, but a tough spot against Cleveland. You know, thoughts on this mid-tier range? Anthony Simons maybe at 76?
Yeah, I mean, this mid-tier is interesting. Like, Melton, I think, is fine. Again, it's a price tag that is hard to, like, stomach, but we know who's in and who's out for Philly, and everyone's out. Yeah. Everyone's on the outside. So we've seen – I mean, dude, we've always said this. He does everything. Like, Melton does everything. He had 4, 3, and 5 steals his last 3 games, along with 19-plus points, along with 4-plus rebounds, along with 3-plus assists. Like, the guy does everything. So, like, I can see myself getting there. Orlando currently ranks 26th in defensive rating. Yeah. That's a good spot.
We just talked about what Halliburton did to them in 2 straight games, right?
Right, right. KPJ, pretty good stretch of games here recently, coming off 2 50 fantasy point games in a row. Dallas and Golden State. You know, Dallas is a very good defensive team. Golden State can be, I guess.
Yeah. Giving you 52 different ways, too. He scores 30 actual against Golden State, and then he goes in nearly triple doubles against Dallas, you know?
Right. It's a good point. So I'm definitely interested in KPJ. You know, I like Simons. I mean, he's just such a good scorer.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, when you watch him play basketball, and it's crazy to think about because they have Dame and like guys, he fills it up faster than like anyone else in the league. Like you see, he has like 4 points, and then you blink and he has like 25, and you're like, what just happened? Great spot. Absolutely great spot for him.
Good spot for both. I mean, Brunson's coming off a 49 fantasy point game, 34 actual 9
He's
assists.
Elite. He's elite, dude.
First game, like in all season, he didn't even have a rebound. So he could, you know, if he gave you his usual 3.4 rebounds there, you were looking at, 55.
Close to
54 fantasy points. So
this isn't another elite mid-tier position.
Yep. I mean, Payne's giving you 47 twice in 4 games. I know we're all going to really like Devin Booker here against Detroit tonight with no Chris Paul, but again, Payne's been, just as good as Paul basically since he's been out there. So again, a pretty interesting mid-tier range of guys. I don't think you can go wrong. This is probably going to be a heavily exposed area of the playbook. Yep. Jamal Murray, even with Jokic back at 7K, I think is a good price tag. Giddey didn't have the greatest game against Denver, but he had back-to-back 40 fantasy point games before that against the Knicks and Memphis here. We've talked a lot about Jalen Suggs lately, and his production has been really strong. Again, the blowout is the only thing that hurt him against the Pacers because he had 28 fantasy points in 24 minutes. Like he was well on his way to another 35 to 40 fantasy points like he's been giving us. So just a really, really interesting group here in this like 78 to 6K range, right? Because like from Clarkson to Shake Milton, and the guys we mentioned already, they're all pretty strong options tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard for me to ignore Shake in current form with who's in and who's out. And again, 6K is not free, but like, let's look at the recent logs. 46, that's like 8x, 9x. 31, 6x. I mean, he's hit this in 3 straight games. He is one of their primary scorers. He is doing everything elsewhere. Like, just really hard not to get there.
Yep, I agree. I mean, listen, you said 28 still almost against Memphis. Right. 28, 36, 31, 46. He's 6K. So
he's 6K. Right.
Gonna be super popular here tonight. We were all in on Bruce Brown. Gonna be kind of hard to go Bruce Brown, I think, with Jamal Murray and everybody back in the lineup. Like in terms of ceiling, right? He's not gonna give us 59 again with all those guys active. So Bones Highland,
he's Jokic. He's Jokic in like a 6'5" body.
Right. I mean, I played him in that the other night. Him and Jokic were my 2 stack against OKC. But with everybody back, I mean, he's gonna get run with Bones Highland out because we talked about that.
MPJ questionable, right?
Sure.
MPJ questionable.
MPJ is questionable. Bones Highland is out. So when we talked about this last week, during his like 30-minute spike there is when Bones Highland was out, and he gave us good production. And then Bones Highland came back, and Jamal Murray was in. He only played 22 minutes. And then we got the COVID games, and they Murray was out, and all of a sudden he goes back to playing 30 minutes. So I think Bruce Brown is fine. I'm just saying I don't think we're going to get a ceiling here. I think we'll get 30 fantasy points. So probably a better cash game play for me tonight, but Bruce Brown can definitely pop. We've seen it plenty of times here. Under $6,000, are you looking at Reggie Jackson at all? I mean, again, he got blown out against the Golden State Warriors. I won't hold it against him, but almost a fantasy point per minute in that game. 33, 33, 38 the 3 games prior, though.
Dude, I keep saying it. Like, they need scoring, and it's going to come from Norman Powell, and it's going to come from Reggie Jackson. And I think we're going to get the John Wall games, and we're going to have Marcus Morris games. But John Wall's like, they're just playing him off the bench for 20 to 24 minutes.
21 minutes,
right?
Yeah.
Marcus Morris is a very inconsistent scorer. Reggie Jackson's been there, Norm withstanding, because Norm has been really good lately. Reggie Jackson's been their best scorer. Yeah. So they're going to need him to score. Denver's defense has not been good at all. 27th in defensive rating this year, 4th worst, even though they're 11-7. Like, they're just scoring more than other teams. Which, not surprising when you have who they have offensively, but they're exploitable defensively. So I'll get to keep mentioning it while these guys are out, that he's going to be on, I think, not most nights, but there's going to be a lot of nights where Reggie Jackson, you look at the box score and he's their leading scorer.
Yep. All right, I'll take a look at some of these value guys here. Alec Burks could be interesting. Killian Hayes is questionable tonight. 5,200. Burks, again, the minutes haven't been great. 19 and 21 the last 2 games for him, but again, if Burks is out, if Hayes is out rather, Burks could start at point guard. So I know they'll probably go Corey Joseph, but we like Burks a lot here at 52. Quickly, it was somebody that made the playbook the other day. The minutes have been consistent, which I think is the biggest thing to key in on here. Yep. The production will go up and down. That's just the nature. That's just the nature of Isaiah Quickly. But if you're in a tournament and you can tell me for sure he's playing 25 plus minutes, then I'm gonna throw some Quickly into some GPPs here, because 31 fantasy points against OKC, he had 29 against Utah. He scored 41 in 23 minutes against the Thunder the game prior to that. Portland, we know right now is a team that defensively is no great shake. So Quickly at 49 in tournaments, I think is fine here. Sexton started and played 35 minutes against Detroit, had a ceiling game. Really hit or miss, but you talked about the game total here. If he's starting again, 4,600 isn't a terrible for a game stack. And I think the chalk is going to be Alvarado at 3,800. No McCollum, he started the other day. 29 minutes, 30 minutes, gave you 26 fantasy points.
Yep, him and Devontae Graham both probably garner some ownership.
Yeah, Graham, right? My boy came through, didn't play him.
Dude, very well. Like how he's played like 2 good games all year long.
I know.
And they've been in back-to-back. He wasn't even in their rotation for the last like month. From the start of November to the Golden State game when they won by like 50.
And the Golden State game, he only played 22 because they won by 40.
Right. He had not played more than 9 minutes in like 6 straight games. Mm-hmm. So like very hard to predict, but I guess that's going to be their point guard rotation, right?
Right.
Jose Alvarado. And we have to factor in if there's no Trey Murphy, like that's extra run for him as well. Like there's extra run for both those guys. So yeah, I think Alvarado is safer for sure. Like without a doubt safer.
Yeah.
But we know, I mean, you're the Devontae Graham.
Listen, Graham has played 20 plus minutes now 5 times this year, or 6 times this year. And in those games, 27 minutes, 21 fantasy points, 28 minutes, 22 fantasy points, 24 minutes, 26 fantasy points, 20 minutes, 21 fantasy points, 22 minutes, 33 fantasy points, 28 minutes, 32 fantasy points. So if he's giving you 20 plus fantasy points at 3.5, really you're getting 6-7x return there. So,
and if he goes for 30, it's like literally like a GPP winner.
Yep, 10x. I mean, he's almost 10x the last 2 slates. So, yeah, I'm with you there. Alvarado for sure safer. He can get you the steals. Graham's gonna go chuck. You know, is he gonna go 6 from 11 from 3 in back-to-back games?
No,
this feels like the Beasley setup, right? When we called it, I'm like, listen, Beasley's not gonna go 10 of 18 for a month, right? And then he came out and he had an ice cold game, and then he bounced back the other night and had 54 points. So we'll get to him right now because we're going to transition over to the shooting guard here. Devin Booker against Detroit. Let a lot of people down against the Lakers. Just 35 fantasy points in that one. The Knicks sort of the same situation, only 33 fantasy points. Against Utah, though, we popped. He gave you 30. He gave you 78. So we know the ceiling can be there. He's expensive at $9,900. This is definitely a spot where we could get a Booker ceiling game if Detroit stays competitive.
Yeah, 29th in defensive rating. They're missing all their pieces. That's just the big if. I mean, not that Phoenix has been like lights out with, guys out, but they're still a top team in this league, even without Chris Paul. They're 11-6, which is tied for like the 5th best record in the league. So, I guess technically that 5th most wins in the league, I should say. Yep. So yeah, I mean they're obviously still elite team. 9-9, very hard to stomach, but again, 29th in defense rating for Detroit. It's a really good matchup.
Yep. Thoughts on the other high price guys here? I mean, Donovan Mitchell. We talked about DeJounte Murray already. Bradley Beal, if he's active tonight, would you play him against Miami? Jaylen Brown gave us another Jaylen Brown performance. 46 fantasy points against Dallas. 31 actual. We know what he can give you. He's at Sacramento here. Brandon Ingram with no McCollum went for 35 fantasy points the other day in that blowout win. He went for 52 in the blowout against Golden State. He is $8,400. We talked about Melton already at 82. Hero's at 8K. Not a good shooting day for Hero in his return, but again, could just get the rust off now.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Jaylen Brown all the time. It's like it's hard to get to this price, but if he keeps paying it off, like he's fine, right?
You can almost like at least rely on him, right? Like,
yeah,
that's it. Very rarely is Jaylen Brown like snowflaking you,
Yep. I really like Brandon Ingram here. I love the 10 assists. Don't love the 9 shots, but like they were also handily winning that game, up by 20 in that.
Yeah.
Those are probably the 2 guys. I don't think I would get to Hero at 8K, especially with like Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, or Jimmy Butler's out, but Lowry and Bam still there. Like, I don't think I could get to 8K for Hero, but I think Ingram is my favorite of that tier.
Okay. No arguments. I think it's a really great spot for him. Going a little bit below into that 7K range, I'll keep saying to play Zach LaVine at 7,100.
Yep, agreed.
That's
too cheap.
It's too cheap. It's too cheap. He has a 40 fantasy point ceiling at this price. With everybody active, it's the Thunder. So it just feels like a really good spot for him there. We play a lot of Vassell. 46 fantasy points again. Like that's fine at 74. I know the Lakers are. Even in a blowout, he played 32 minutes.
Yeah.
So, like, who knows what... they've been blown out 3 straight games. 36,
Dude, they are
32.
This is the team we thought they were going to be.
Right.
When they were like competitive earlier in the year, like we were like, what is going on? Now they're just terrible.
Yeah.
They are horrible.
Yep. So 7,400 for Vassell. I'll pay it. He's giving you 40 fantasy points. That's fine.
Sure.
Dylan Brooks. Any interest here with Morant back? Morant and Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, I'm okay. I think like the next tier is more interesting. Like
sure, shoot it.
Oh, Javen Ivey is questionable too, John.
Yeah, is that? I don't think I remember seeing that initially, but interesting.
That is interesting because who the heck does Detroit? I mean, I do not want to put
definitely Alec Burks then. If Jaden Ivey,
if they're, I mean, Hamidou Diallo also questionable. Like all these three are questionable. They might be forced to play Corey Joseph, which I won't be playing Corey Joseph.
No, I'll play Alec Burks.
Low floor. But Alec Burks for sure.
Is Rodney McGruder still on that team?
Yeah, he is. I was actually going to suggest Jaden Ivey as an option potentially. I think he's, but if he's not going to play, that's pretty unlucky.
Right.
Clarkson 67 feels really good. The minutes since Mike Conley's been out have been awesome. 36, 39, 37. Yeah. Conley left that first game.
Yep, I agree with you there. Let's see. Max Struss did not play the other day. The whole situation kind of changes in Miami with Hero now active, though.
Yep. You can't pay 65 for firsters if with Hero in.
Josh Hart's at 65. I don't mind that. They probably don't get blown out, I don't think, by the Knicks. So you can get some decent minutes out of Josh Hart. Buddy Hield is averaging 40 fantasy points in 2 games against Brooklyn, but recent Buddy Hield only averaging 24 fantasy points over the last 5. Only shooting 30% from 3 during that stretch, which is a lot to do with it. The guy went from shooting 50% from 3 to 30% from 3. And you just aren't getting nearly the production. He was averaging over 2 steals and stuff like that. So numbers slowly starting to drop there on our guy Buddy, which is fine because when he goes under 6K, you'll just start running right back out there.
Yep, sure will.
So no problems with that there. Any other value guards here? Do you look at Clay at all?
Yep, sure. I mean the Clippers game, he had 18 points in the first half. And then they just didn't play it because they didn't need to. I think they're anytime they can like limit Klay Thompson's minutes, they're going to limit Klay Thompson's minutes. So yeah, I would go there. 239.5 total. You could suggest anyone to me, and I'd probably consider them.
Plus, I mean, he showed ceiling, right? We got ceiling.
I mean, we've seen. Hey, he's been better lately. He's definitely been better. I think like under 5K. Like obviously Malik Monk has those blow up games, and he's in an elite game total as well, so I would consider him as well.
Beasley, as you mentioned, in that same spot.
Beasley in that same spot.
Definitely GPP only for Beasley. Like, he's never had this stretch of play, I don't think, before, where he's been, this good. He's been this good in 3 or 4.
No. He's really, really good right now.
Yeah, we're not familiar with this consistent level for Malik Beasley. So, Norm against Denver, another guy that has gone off to a slow start, but now that he is the only guy they have, 36, 41, and 31. Tough matchup against Denver. Could draw Bruce Brown, defensively here in this game. Like that maybe worries me a little bit, but again, just talking about or KCP, like he's going to draw a tough defensive matchup here. But he's going to be on the floor to shoot. So,
yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, historically, Denver's been good defense, and they have good defensive players, but they're 27th in defensive rating. Like, they're just not that team right now. It's like a couple teams that we've seen this year, right? Like, they just aren't defending well, and I don't know why.
They're at home too. Maybe that changes to Denver. Clippers being at home maybe helps.
Yeah, and I don't know why he's $600 cheaper than he was, because he's put up 30 plus fantasy points in 3 straight games. So, like, why are we decreasing his price?
I mean, in even the 3 straight games, but I mean, you had the 2 down games against Detroit and Dallas. But prior to that, 5 straight or 5 of 6 where he went for 20 plus. So, definitely turning a corner here for Norm. Kispert, if everybody's out again, I think is a bounce back spot. I know it's the exact same matchup that he just failed everybody in, but he played 39 minutes. So, willing to give him another shot. I still like Jalen Williams. I'll talk about him every slate. The minutes have been there, right? Again, just got to give you something more than 0 rebounds, which he had been until that game. So, 6-4, 6-4, 0. You know, if he's going to give you 4 rebounds, he gets you 24 fantasy points there.
Right.
See, I'm not gonna play Gary Harris. I don't know what you.
No, and Banchero was practicing.
Yeah, he's
and all
active
that,
actually, active. Yeah.
So like, not that Gary Harris is probably going to be in the rotation, like as that like veteran presence, right? But not enough to really move the needle.
AJ Griffin played 24 minutes even with Hunter back. Again, risky spot, but it's also Houston. If this blows out, AJ Griffin probably gets those minutes. So he's at 4K. We generally like Cam Reddish if he's in the lineup at 4K, but if he's not and he's questionable here, Quentin Grimes is 3,500. So Grimes
they'll start him.
Yeah, 33 minutes back-to-back games against Phoenix. He gave you 30. Against OKC, he gave you 19, which is okay at 3,500. 19 is still 6x almost. So
and he had that 19 at half. So what could have been?
Yeah, right.
What could have been in the second
5
half?
Fouls. So I mean, Quentin Grimes will be uber popular. We talked about Devontae Graham already as well, finding himself in a good spot. If everybody's out again, would you run back Will Barton at $3,300?
Probably.
The best game of the season for Will Barton after doing nothing all year.
I mean, like what happened to this guy? You know, like why? Like they signed him. It was like I listened to Bradley Beal on JJ Redick's podcast, like talk about how excited he was to have Will Barton on the team, and then like he's not playing. You know, so like we know there's something better for Will Barton in there. So if everyone's out, I think we kind of have to go back to the well if he's $3,300.
Yeah, it's just it's a tough spot, obviously.
Yeah.
Anybody else for you at shooting guard?
No, we're ready to move on.
Okay. Top small forwards here. KD and Tatum are both power forward, small forward eligible. We got the ceiling Tatum game. Yep. They're going to be here, right? You just got to pick the night. Is Sacramento the night for Tatum ceiling game?
Probably. And I think like it's clear that you just can't play Kevin Durant at this price with full strength Nets.
Yeah.
But you could play Tatum in every matchup imaginable. He's so good. And you said like the ceiling is there. I mean, he's gonna win the MVP if Boston continues to win. So like, you can play him in this spot.
Celtics have 3 losses this year, and 2 of them are summaries into your Bulls. So I don't really.
Yeah, including the recent game, the Bulls looked really, really. That was the best. I don't know what
the kryptonite is there for Chicago, but
the best game the Bulls have played all year was
both losses were in Chicago too. So maybe it won't matter if we have home court.
Shout out to us if we get the 8th seed. We're coming for you, John. You better hope we don't get the 8th seed. Yeah. You better hope we don't win the.
Yeah, that's fine. If we lose every road game in the first round, we still win the series. So.
True. Hey, nothing like a good 8-1 Boston-Chicago series, huh?
Yeah, exactly. All right, Paolo's back. I'm not going to touch him on his first game back, but I do obviously am excited to see him back on the floor. He's a great player.
You know who's been awesome, John? DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
Awesome. He's been awesome. We're hitting that stretch like he did.
Him too.
Yeah, they have. But we're hitting that stretch where he was last year. I mean, we're coming off back-to-back wins in home Boston, in Milwaukee. Literally the 2 favorites in the Eastern Conference.
Hey, dropped 41 actual against Orlando.
He is on. It's that stretch again from last year. Like he's on that level right now that like he's just untouchable. So
you know how I know things are changing for DeMar DeRozan? His 3-pointers. He's taking them. He's making.
I know he's actually. Yep, I know he's hit 2 or more. And don't bet that over, John, because he's going 0 for 1 tonight.
It's gonna go half.
He's going 0 for 1. Yeah. He's going 0 for 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has definitely stretched his game out a little bit. But he's just doing everything offense.
Yep. Toby in a revenge game against Orlando at 8K, but it's not a fun spot for him, right? Bamba, Bull, Carter, Banchero, like that. 3 of those 4 guys.
Dude, that is crazy to think about. How just the length that team has is crazy. That is crazy.
They don't start all 4 today, right? They don't go Suggs and like.
imagine they just go Franz at the point guard too, 6'9" or taller. Like
right.
That'd be just insane.
So much length, and wait till John Isaac gets back one of these days. So Toby's in a tough spot against Orlando there. Laurie at 79. I mean,
yep.
Apparently the Hawks offered John Collins to Utah for Laurie marketing and got laughed off the phone. Because 20 and 10s in 2 of the last 3. Poor shooting against Detroit, but a good bounce back spot for market in here for sure.
Yep.
Keldon at 75. Would you? I mean, five fantasy points the other day. Like, what are you doing? So, price will start dropping on him. We're not gonna run that back.
Yeah, no shot.
If everybody's out for Detroit, does Bojan just become like? I mean, he's already the guy, but like, does he become more the guy?
Probably.
And can you pay 69 for it?
Probably nice. Probably, but like, if everyone's out, does this game stay close? That's the question.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't know. I mean, they just beat Utah. They beat Denver. They played competitive. Like, they've been like competitive in every game.
They're a good team.
They're pretty good
without their best player. Like, they're winning games. So something to watch there for sure. Wiggins had a really good game the other day. 30 actual.
Yeah,
you're not going to get that, but I mean, 30 plus in 3 straight. I mean,
Utah.
It's not bad. Not bad.
Price is coming down. The price, he scores 30 actual, and they're like, you know what? Let's bump your price down.
I'll never find the right Barrett day, but you can play him if you want. That's fine.
Yep.
Let's see here. Caleb Martin had a good day. 5,900 for Martin against Washington if everybody's out.
This feels so expensive for
Struss didn't play, right? So like,
yeah, if he plays, you gotta think. I mean, they're getting so close to like full strength.
Yeah.
Hero back too. Like,
it's just the minutes for me. I mean, again,
it is the minutes.
But obviously, if Struss is active, he probably doesn't play 40, right? Because like now they have Hero and Struss and Bam and.
Yeah, I think it's a pass for me personally, but I mean, I get it. If Struss is out, then maybe like we talk about it and maybe it's like a thing. But 5,900 is like not free for a team that now has Hero, Bam, and Lowry all back.
Sure. Royce O'Neal's back on something. 46, 33, 31, 39 fantasy points the last 4. With a healthy team, everybody's in the lineup. Like, I don't know what's going on. He's when they have their 5 best players on the floor, Royce O'Neal is the most productive. I don't get it.
Triple double in Portland. Are you kidding me?
Double digit actual scoring in 4 straight. The assists 7, 6, 8, 11.
When does this come back to earth? Oh God.
But I mean, I think if you're game stacking, Royce O'Neal has to be in that lineup.
You know when I played Royce O'Neal, John? You know when the first time I played Royce O'Neal this year?
Was it like a 6 fantasy point game?
Sacramento.
Yeah.
I played him in Sacramento. That was the first time and the last time I'm playing Royce O'Neal.
No, I just think he's a good player. Sorry.
I don't think he's a bad player.
Only because it's the matchup. I think DeAndre Hunter deserves some looks. 35 fantasy against Sacramento. 28 fantasy against Toronto. Now you're getting a Houston spot there. I think it's a good look. Let's see.
Good player.
Yep. Where's Eric Gordon? There he is. Small forward only. 4,400. If Jalen Green doesn't play, Eric Gordon is probably the nuts here. He was the other
probably
day.
The nuts.
I guess Jalen Green's actually probable, so less likely to miss time there. But we didn't talk about Jalen Green at 72. I don't really like the price, but I don't know what you're.
No, I think that's a little too pricey, but you can go there in tournaments.
Yeah. That said, like Eric Gordon's still playing. It's just the usage rate with Porter or Green off the floor is just better for him.
Yep.
Anybody else for you here?
They didn't start Shaden Sharp. Where's our boy Winslow at? He is 4,100.
Patrick Williams for sure again. Another 24 fantasy points for Williams.
Okay. Yeah.
OKC at 4,200. Like that's a pretty safe floor, I think.
Yeah, Pat will. Just like hard to. Yeah, it's gonna be like 26 minutes. Sometimes we'll get 30, but like it just seemingly that they're comfortable with him in like the mid 20s.
Yeah, he's productive when he's on the floor. Winslow's 41.
Winslow 41. He started
10 though. 2 for 10 shooting. So
yeah, but we know what like if that's 4 for 10, he has 30. Like we're talking 30 fantasy points at 41. So like great matchup. They started him over Shaden Sharp, and Shaden Sharp like was just out of their like 15 minutes just playing backup run. So
yep.
Kevin Knox, John. Kevin Knox, let's go,
dude. Honestly, you may have to play Kevin Knox if
they just don't have anybody.
If everybody's out, yes, I will.
And he gets blowout run, right? Yeah. And he gets blowout. Like they're gonna.
I mean, the whole team gets blowout run. They don't have enough bodies.
Yeah.
So, sure. Kevin Knox revival in Detroit looks to be a thing. 6 of 8 and 8 of 11 shooting. I don't think he's shot that good since high school.
Probably not going to continue.
He's really not giving you anything else. You know, like The 8 rebounds against Denver was nice. No assists, no blocks, 1 steal.
Listen, 3,600. If he goes out there and gives us 11 and 5 and 1 again, 20 fantasy.
Would you rather play Quentin Grimes or Kevin Knox if both start?
Probably Quentin Grimes, but you also have to factor in if Knox is starting, that means everyone's out for Detroit. So there will be less going on in Detroit than there will be in New York.
I mean, if everybody's out, we just play Bagley probably, right?
I mean that.
Probably.
I mean, the guy is going to start the game with 2 fouls.
He only played 20 minutes the other day because of that reason.
Yeah, but no, he only had 1 foul.
Oh, okay.
What is... Because there's Jaylen Brown or Jalen Durant?
Well, Jalen Durant is good. He's better. He's our lottery pick. So I got nobody else.
I got no one else.
Okay, power forward at the top. Giannis is at 12-4. Listen, 57, 58 last 2 games. Sure, at halftime he had 18 fantasy points against Chicago. So I mean, yeah, he can get there. But is this
just not?
I only went for 43 against them last time.
Cleveland is very good.
I just don't want to do that. I'm just not going to do it. Okay, Pat Connaughton, questionable with an illness. So we're starting to get some injury news. We'll see if more pops out here. LeBron on his return game against San Antonio. Probably going to watch that one. Not going to get any exposure. Randall at 84. I'm a big Randall guy. Just the numbers. 25 and 11 was great. We gave you nothing else. 1 assist, no blocks, no steals. So probably not going to pay him until he gets under 8K again. Who knows if that ever happens. Zion at 82. What are your thoughts here? No CGM. He gave you 32 and 11, 54 fantasy points.
It's interesting.
Jaren Jackson defense. Either
it's
block his shot or foul him. So,
yeah, or both.
Both.
Block shots and maybe at the same time, honestly. Look, the guy has a 34% usage rate without McCollum. He averages 1.45 fantasy points per minute. Those are huge numbers, monster numbers. So 14 for... Dude, he played 27 minutes in that game. You get an extra... Zion's playing 31, 32 typically. Yeah. And you give him 5 more minutes, he gets 60. So if this game stays competitive, which obviously it should and likely will be, if not for a random blowout, I'm going to... And the price tag. This is the lowest price tag he's been all year. The lowest price he's been all year, coming off his best game of the year.
Yep.
So I will be playing Zion.
Okay. I figured you would be. Good luck with all that turkey you ate yesterday.
you POS.
Ben Simmons, man.
Dude, he is...
You got to play him, right?
Yeah, and
he's figured something out.
Yeah, Durant was talking about him on his podcast, on the Etcetera's podcast that he has on his boardroom platform that he owns. And he was basically saying that Simmons passed Durant the ball on a backdoor cut, and Durant basically did the Simmons where he didn't dunk it wide open under the basket. And Simmons said, "Dunk the effing ball," using the language. And Durant was like, "That's when I knew he was back." And he's back, dude. He is back. 35 plus fantasy points in 4 straight. And you know what, John? To all the people who said he's scared to shoot, to all the people who said he can't score, you were all wrong. Because this guy who scored 17 plus points a game in multiple seasons.
I don't think we're wrong. He still can't hit a free throw to save his life and doesn't shoot.
Can't hit a free throw, but he can.
He can lay it up. Yeah,
hey, Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal couldn't make a free throw. Shaquille O'Neal couldn't make a free throw to save his life either.
Yeah, Shaq was also a freak. So, in my opinion, and I've argued about this before, and we won't have to get into it here. If I'm picking a guy for a one-on-one matchup, I'm taking Shaq. Right? People yes. Jordan, Kobe, love those guys. I'm gonna take Shaq. He's 7'4", 325 pounds that had handles. You give me Orlando Magic Shaq, he's gonna beat everybody in the league. Right? Go watch a YouTube video of Shaq grabbing a rebound, dribbling all the way up the court, crossing a guy over and dunking. It's the most impressive thing I've ever seen a 7'4" guy do. Until Wembayama gets in the league, and then that guy's gonna ruin. Until that guy ruins the whole world.
Yeah, he's ruining the game of basketball.
Yeah, it's next year can't come soon enough. Immediately 10K player, do you think, Wembayama? Just
first slate
10K. You know,
yeah, maybe.
I mean,
maybe.
I don't know. I don't know.
Unless he goes to the Thunder, because then he'll play 21 minutes again.
Pop has him on the bench. Just doesn't.
Yeah, Pop might not start him. Pop might not even start him.
Jeremy Grant, we know he scores when Lillard's out of the lineup. He gets the Knicks here. You know,
this is the best matchup he's had in a little bit without Lillard. I mean, Milwaukee, Cleveland, not very easy spots.
No, he's done well against them. So, you know, can go there if you want. I don't think I'm going to get there as a core play tonight, but, you know, I think he's pretty safe. Jaren Jackson, again, tournaments. We love the guy. The block shots have been there. He's at 13 in 3 games. The minutes continue to creep up. 14 or more shots in each game. He can't hit a 3 right now to save his life, but eventually those might start dropping for him. He gave you a 12 rebound game, then he gave you a 3 rebound game. That's the ebb and flow of the Jaren Jackson experience. But 52 and 41 fantasy points, the price is only going to get more expensive. When he is playing 35 minutes, he's probably like an 8K player. You know, what are your thoughts on the Zion spot, though? I mean, like, does that bother you at all here?
I mean, he could obviously be in foul trouble, but, like, I don't know. I think if you want to play him in tournaments, you can play him in tournaments.
The fouls haven't even been that bad so far. So
yeah, they have not. I mean, look, you want to play him in tournaments, you can play him in tournaments. I think that's really where it lies, right? Like, he's perfectly good in tournaments, and he's very risky in cash, and you should never play him in cash, pretty much.
We know everybody's out for Denver, but Aaron Gordon went for 52 against OKC. Jamal Murray's back, but Michael Porter may be out of this game. Any Aaron Gordon interest at 6K?
Tournaments. Yep. He's gone twice in the last 5 games. He's gone for 50. He has that in his bag. So, yeah, I think in tournaments, he's perfectly fine.
Any Draymond love at 5,900? Good. I mean, numbers been there. Near triple-double, right? Like, he's flirting.
And I think tournaments, again, I think the assists have been there with Clay, like the correlation with Clay and Steph being so good lately.
The shots, I mean, they don't want him to shoot, you know, but like 4 shots and 3.
Yeah, I mean, the Draymond's kind of an anomaly with like the usage rate because he is so involved in like
everything else.
But like he also is only averaging half a block and 1 steal. Like this is not like he's not as good defensively as he once was, and I think it's just because he's old. Yeah,
definitely
older.
You've been playing Torrey Craig. Would you run it back to him?
I don't love the 5K price, but
I mean, 28, 37, 29, 28, 25 the last 4.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
It's a blowout potential in this one, right?
Yeah, he's probably not on the floor. Yeah.
Poku at 5K came back, started again, 29 minutes.
Dude, it's just they're gonna make me.
He's gonna start, and he's gonna get sat after halftime. So
yep. Tournaments.
Let's see. Niang, any interest at 47?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Now playing 18 minutes with all those guys out.
I agree. 40 minutes from Denny. Everybody's out again for Miami?
When that was one of the things I added in the playbook when they ruled everyone out Washington. He was one of their best usage guys and one of their best fantasy player per minute guys. And he's been great everywhere. He was a rebound shy of a triple-double.
Yeah.
So he's been really good. 26.
He was a very good player in Europe.
I mean, that's why he was a lottery. That's why he was a lottery pick. I agree. 4 of the last 6 games, he's been over 20, or 6 of the last 7, I should say, over 26 fantasy points. And the price does not reflect that whatsoever.
Nope. You just got to be aware. He's got a floor. Yeah. Yep. He's got a floor.
He's got a floor. But, I mean, I think that floor is it's raised a little bit if we're not going to see Beal, Morris,
and everybody's out. I would consider Denny for sure. I still think Patrick Williams at 42 is a free square.
Yep.
Just given the matchup against OKC as well, I think that's just a really good spot for him. Anybody else power forward for you?
I don't think so. Still not playing Baisley.
Stevens so we talked about Chetty. I just got the update. Stevens is doubtful to play today. Let's see. Dean Wade's gonna play, I guess. But there's no Love, no Stevens, it seems like. I don't think Chetty's a power forward, though. I think he's just
shooting guard, small forward. Did play 26 minutes last game.
Just something interesting for them there. Isaiah Livers could get more run here. He's played 20 minutes. He hasn't done much, but again, if they're missing everybody.
Yeah, if they're missing everybody. He just it's very, very low floor. I mean, he just really hasn't been doing a lot when he's out there.
All right, center. Let's close this one out here. At the top here, you got Jokic at 11-4 against the Clippers. It's obviously a smash spot for him. The Clippers against centers, we just run that all the time. It's just how long does he play if this game is a blowout? That's something does he get his ceiling? So use him if you want. Anthony Davis, biggest question on the board. Like, is he playable with the way he's playing with LeBron James on the floor? I mean, 84, 64, 70, 63, 56 the last 5 games. Right. 30, 37, 38, 37 actual points, 21, 18, 16, 18 rebounds. He had 5 blocks and 5 steals against Phoenix. Can you pay 10-9 with a LeBron James return?
Probably. I mean, LeBron's been watching this, right? Like, there's no way LeBron can watch this and be like...
you play it until he proves he can't sort of situation?
Yeah, like, I think if you're building one lineup, is Anthony Davis your top play? No. Because 10-9 is, like, not cheap by any means, but, like, man, it's good. Like, it's a great spot, and he's just been so elite. The blocks and the steals are, like, every facet of his game has been tremendous.
Yeah.
So I'm okay going there, right? Like, who's to say LeBron doesn't come back and be like, dude, like, I'm easing back into this. I'm gonna look for you all night, whatever. Like, I'm okay going there. Honestly, I am.
Seeing Zinger had me remember that we didn't talk about Kuzma.
Yeah, we should. He's just 83. I don't think is like a price we're used to, but
45, 39, 49, 46 the last 4. 2 of those games had Beal. You know, the last game without everybody, he went for 33 and 7. Only 1 assist feels like just sort of an anomaly too. Like, he probably should have had a higher ceiling against Miami there. If everybody's out again, Kuzma at 83 is a really good, really good spot. Zinger though, would you play him at 89?
I think it's a little too pricey, but he shot the ball really poorly lately. I mean, 35, 21, 42% the last 3 games. One of those games, he gives us 56 fantasy points. The other 2 with 36 points floor. Like, there's just a lot of upside. So I would play Porzingis. I would limit it to tournaments, but I could definitely see myself getting there. If it feels
centers have been destroying the Thunder. We've already talked about liking DeRozan and Levine. Do we just make it a trifecta here with Vuk?
Yeah, I mean, Vucevic has been a little better lately. From a fantasy perspective, 33 or more fantasy points in 3 straight. I do like the price tag, and there's a 50-point ceiling, so I can get there.
Okay. Pirtle's returning. Any interest at 73 for him?
Tournaments.
Okay. Miles Turner, 74, had a 30 actual point game against the Minnesota the other day.
I don't think that's a coincidence. Isaiah Jackson was out, and Turner kind of gets extended a little bit, and I mentioned that in the playbook. Like, Jackson is the direct backup to Miles Turner, right? Like, that's the correlation. And
well, they played Goga, and Goga actually came in and played fairly well.
Yeah, and they did play Goga. 15 minutes, Jackson averaging 17, right? So a couple extra minutes goes Turner's way, and we see what happens. And I think if Jackson sits again, that same scenario could play out where a couple extra minutes, we see 33 out of and next thing we're talking about is Miles Turner, another 50 fantasy point game. So I'm definitely in. I think it's like he's been so up and down. I would probably limit it to tournaments, but I think he's in play.
I don't think I've played DeAndre Ayton all season, but I would play him tonight.
You haven't really missed much. He's been better.
Decent.
Yeah, he's been better lately, and the price has been really good, and a lot of people are playing him. He's just like, you would expect, I think, that he would shoot more without Chris Paul, and he just hasn't.
Yeah.
We have 1 game where he's taken more than 14 shots. How is that possible, right? Like, with no Chris Paul, like, for more than half the year. But yeah, I would get to 8 and 7.
It feels like a good matchup for him here against.
Definitely a good matchup.
Durant and Bagley. Let's see here. Would you go Nurkic at 68? Mitch Rob is questionable tonight.
It just feels like a spot where, like, yes, probably in tournaments, but we know, like, let's say the Knicks run Julius Randle at center, like, Nurkic is probably getting taken off the floor, right? Or if, like, the Knicks go like Jericho Sims, who's athletic.
Maybe who do they play then instead? Do they run?
They could just run like a Eubanks. They could do like a small lineup with Justice Winslow. Like there's a lot of different. I just don't know what they could do. They could do like again Winslow. Sure. They could. Nurkic rarely has played over 30 minutes. He's played over 30 minutes once since November 2nd. So I would in tournaments consider it because there's no Dame and we know he has a very high ceiling.
Yeah, he's a high fantasy point per minute guy generally. So I like this spot for Capella too at 67 against Houston. Probably a 18 rebound, 19 rebound game, right? Like
revenge narrative.
Revenge narrative. Only played 26 minutes in that first game against Houston, not 8 boards in that one, but I feel a little bit. He's been playing a lot better lately.
Yeah, he's been playing more. He's been playing more lately. Like they're just giving him more minutes.
Yep. Could be a bounce back spot for Horford. Actually, better last game. Bounce back from the game before against Chicago where he was 0 for 9. $5,600 for him there. Always can use Olenek and GPPs. That's fine. Let's see. Claxton returned. Played 30 minutes, 43 fantasy points for him. Do you think he gets a double-double here against the Pacers, though?
He could. I mean the Pacers...
Blocks, 7 blocks the last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, Pacers... They are, like, not the best offensive team, you know? Sure. Yeah, I think there could be a double-double here for him.
Okay. Let's see. Any value center plays for you? Harold Reed. Which one are you playing?
Harold... So here's what I think we need to consider. If they ever make the shift while Joel Embiid is out to Paul Reed starting, I think Harrell is doomed. But as long as Harrell is starting and if he plays well, I think that we can. I actually played Harrell in one of my lineups the other night.
Yeah. I think you have to if you're doing multiple lineups, you got to get exposure to both, right? Like,
yeah, agreed. I think that's the perfect way to describe it. But I really think he would be in trouble if he doesn't start. Like I think the safeness is like him starting, like, okay, he's going to play 18 to 24 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas like if he doesn't start and Paul Reed starts, he might not play. And then they play like PJ Tucker at the backup center, right? It's like, so if Harrell's starting, he's going to be a lone tournament play. I think a lot of people are going to play Paul Reed.
Paul Reed has the shot, blocks and steals advantage here. So
hard though, dude. 4,800 is a very, 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 very difficult.
So like everybody's just jamming in these 2 guys the last couple of slates as value plays, but it's not going to be as easy to do now, given the situation there. That's why I said like Bagley's at 45. If everybody's out again, and then Durant is cheaper. He's like I think he's 42. Yeah, 42.
And in a blowout, he's playing all the minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I wish he shot more. 3 and 4 shot attempts the last 2 games, but the games prior to that was 7 and 8. That's he needs to score to really give him a better ceiling, but at 42 you can live with 4 and 7, 2 and 2 for 20 fantasy points. So I don't hate that. I got anybody else at center for you?
Nothing for me.
Okay. Let's go plug Steph in and build our lineups. Let's see. Steph at point guard. Value. Did we want to go Devontae Graham?
Yeah, probably.
He's just the cheaper of the group there.
Yeah, I mean, we're building a tournament lineup too, so like he's gonna sink. We're gonna sink or swim with the.
Yep, I agree. Small forward here.
Norm value 4,700.
Do you want to go Norm value? Do you want to go Patrick Williams at 42?
Well, we could play Patrick Williams at power forward or the forward spot.
Sure.
Which we could do for Norm. We could do both. Right, like we could technically.
We'll do both. Let's see what both looks like here. Norm or Beasley.
I feel a little better knowing that who's out for the Clippers, but because like it's hard to also ignore Sexton at 46.
Sure. In
that spot, like if he's coming off the game that he's coming off, where he starts, plays all those minutes, double. I like that spot too,
Yep. Okay, so putting in Norm and Williams, we have 67.5 for a center, guard, forward, and utility. I feel like we can get another top guy in a lineup here.
For a center,
or just in general, I think we can get another top price play into our lineup.
What do we have? Center guard,
forward, utility. The final 4 spots in the DraftKings build here.
We could go. Would you want to play Sexton in that game? Is that interesting to you, or is that not something you want to do?
I don't know. My problem with Sexton is that great game against Detroit last time out, but nothing before that. Do you want to go Burks? Alec Burks?
I mean, I think he has a role, but like that role is limited if everybody plays.
Okay.
Like I'm 100% playing him if guys are out, but Ivy questionable, Hayes questionable, Diallo questionable. If they all play, like Burks plays.
I don't think you think Diallo impacts Burks. I think more so the starting lineup guys would impact Burks.
I guess not. But we don't know if those start. The only thing we just don't know if those starting lineup guys are out.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's fair. Okay. So again, 67.5 a play. Let's see here. What did we like in the 6K range? Levine is 71.
Shake Milton.
Yeah, Shake at 6K. Shake's a good one. 7K a play, center forward utility. You want Ben Simmons?
We could play Ben Simmons.
You want Zion. Spot. You obviously want Zion.
I mean, we don't. I mean, it's just like he doesn't give us center eligibility.
We run Simmons at the center.
Okay.
We could do Jaren Jackson at forward at 68.
Jaren Jackson at forward.
That'll give us a 7K utility play.
Yeah, that's fine.
7K utility is Bojan at 69 if everybody's out.
Yeah, if everybody's out, we can play Bojan.
Or Clarkson at 67 to get a run back in that Golden State game.
Sure.
All right. Seems like it works. All right. So we have Curry, Graham, Powell, Williams, Simmons, Milton, Jackson, and Clarkson. $300 left over. Just kind of an example of the process, building out our lineups. We'll have the full playbook out there. Today we'll have the injury report video. We'll have the value vault. And, of course, we'll be in Discord. If you have any questions, get us there. And we will catch you guys for Monday. Monday slate here. Good luck, everybody.